Welcome along back to the channel, guys. My name's Dave. My business is called The Magical Toy Cupboard. You can find me on eBay, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I decided to document my reselling journey, and what I wanted to say to you guys was, if you're new, hello. If you've subscribed, thank you. If you like my videos, at the end of this video, give it a like, give it a subscribe. If you want to put any comments, I'll answer any comments I can possibly can. Watch some of my previous videos, that'd be fantastic. In my bio on YouTube, when I started doing this, I put that I am documenting my reselling journey, and I've also put the good, the bad and the ugly side of reselling. Now, today is Wednesday, 11th of February. Last Tuesday, which was the 3rd of February, I woke up with an horrendous stomach ache, didn't feel well at all. I basically had no energy. I'd got shivers ripping through my body. I just didn't feel well at all. I won't be coarse or horrible, but I was on the toilet a fair bit, not great. So yeah, what do you do then? You know, I've worked for years in different companies, different businesses. Obviously, if you're off sick, generally you'd get paid. Some companies wouldn't, you know, they'd give you sick pay, but you got something, you know, you got a wage there. So what I wanted to talk about was what happens when we get ill as resellers, as self-employed people. Now, it wiped me out for the whole of Tuesday. Didn't list anything. I didn't want to do anything. I was in such a bad way. I basically lay around most of the day, and then I went to bed really early, about 7 o'clock. The next morning on the Wednesday, still didn't feel too great. Again, stayed in bed till about 12, 1 o'clock. Started to feel a little bit better. I wouldn't say, you know, 100%. So, you know, I sort of got up, tried to eat something. I drank plenty of fluids, you know, had a shower, tried to freshen up. Started to feel a little bit more myself, but not brilliant. So basically what I'm trying to say is I lost Tuesday and Wednesday, 2 days completely wiped out. Did nothing, yeah. Did no listing, did no sourcing, did no packing of parcels, zero. I was very ill. So the good thing about it is with eBay, being on Vinted, things like that, obviously the products you've already listed, you've got listed up, they're still on there, so they're still selling. So I did still get sales, which is great. Something you can't say if you're in another company, because obviously, you know, if you work somewhere where you're manually picking things up and, you know, but doing a physical job, you know, if you're not at that job and you're only getting sick pay or nothing, or no pay at all, you're not getting anything at all, are you? You just, you know, you're ill, you're in a bad way, and, you know, you're also not earning any money. So at least in this reselling game, we can say that's one thing that definitely does, you know, help, that the money still comes in. Same as when you go on holiday, you put your shop on holiday mode, you still get some sales as well. So that's good. Now, the bad side of it, and I'll be honest with you, my sales, once it got to about Friday, Saturday, Sunday, dipped quite badly, I'd say. And now, this is the only thing with eBay. I feel as though it doesn't matter how many products you have on there, if you're not regularly feeding that algorithm, did I say that right? Algorithm. If you're not regularly feeding that and listing daily, you do get punished. Like when I go on holiday now, what I normally do, back in the day, I'd just go on holiday, I'd shut the shop down, I'd put it so people could buy products, you know, and you'd still have sales. But when I go on holiday now, what I do, I schedule a load of listings. I sort of do loads of drafts and sort of, or have listings that are scheduled that go live each day, like 5 or 6 listings, just so that they're dripping on every hour or so that eBay still thinks your shop's active. Even though it's on holiday mode, you're still accepting sales, but it's active in a way that, you know, you've got stuff going on. Now, obviously, unless you've got stuff drafted and scheduled, ready to go, which when I'm going on holiday, I do, because obviously I'm prepared for that. I know I'm building up to that happening. That's great. But if you haven't got some sat there ready to go and you drop ill all of a sudden, you know, you don't feel very well, you don't feel like doing anything, you're not feeding the algorithm, you're not putting nothing on there. And I just find your eBay store suffers a little bit. Don't know if anyone else gets this, Pretty sure you do. If you do, drop a comment, just say, yeah, you know, I've had a similar experience. If I don't list regularly, drops off a little bit. I've noticed it. I've been doing it for 6 years now, and I've noticed it. If you don't, if it's days when I say like I have loads of posts, I have a really good week where I'm posting absolute tons of stuff. More of my time's took up doing the post than listing. If I don't list as much, I notice my sales drop a little bit. Whereas if I'm listing every day, blasting like between sort of 20 items to 30 items on a day, or at least 10 or whatever, I notice your sales keep regular. And that's not necessarily that you're putting those items on those items sell. It just seems to give it a boost. And obviously, I also in the morning take 10 items off if they're sort of like 60 to 90 days old. Sell similar, change the title, change the description, which I've mentioned in my previous videos, just to give that another little boost. And I'll also take another 5 items off and just adjust the prices on those, just tweak them a little bit. Maybe put them back on with no promoted listings, just so they're sort of a fresh listing, and then I'll reevaluate that again in the next sort of like 30 to 60 days. I then might drop a promotion on them. I'm trying to stay clear of promotions if I can. Certain stuff you don't really have any choice, you've got to kind of promote it or it just doesn't get seen. A lot of books, for example, there's that many on there, it's that saturated, the market with books, that if you don't promote it, they just don't get seen, really. You know what I mean? Unless it's an unbelievable book, it's that rare. There's only like 1 of them or 2 of them or something, and someone's looking for it that day. So you sometimes you got no choice, have you? But as I say, if you're not doing that, you're not setting that sort of system up where you've got all these scheduled listings, then when you fall ill, you're kind of screwed, really. Luckily, it was only 2 days. If say you broke something, you was off for weeks and weeks and weeks, and like you could only do so much. I don't know what you do, but yeah, that's another story. But yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I'm going to discuss the good, the bad, the ugly side of reselling, and that is the ugly and bad side, really. Unfortunately, that when you don't list regularly enough, your listings drop off a bit. Thankfully, by the weekend, I started to feel way better, and then obviously I'm better now, fully fit, like, and I'm all right now. And yeah, the sales started coming in again because I started listing again, but it sort of took a hit. You know what I mean? It's been slow. So I will show you in a minute some of my recent solds, and there's not a lot, to be honest with you. There's not been a fat lot. And I have listed this week. I have battered the listings, and I'm going to batter the listings this afternoon. I'm going to batter the listings tomorrow, which is Thursday, and get as much as I can on, really, try and catch back up and get the eBay store back to where it should be. I am going away for the weekend this weekend to see my uncle and my cousins down in Hertfordshire. So looking forward to that. That'll be a nice little break away from things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to schedule some listings so that they drop on Saturday and Sunday, so that the algorithm keeps going there. And there's this pickup I've been mulling over getting now for months. Nobody else has got it. It's still available. I've checked it's available, but it's 450 quid the guy wants. It's a load of like Thomas Trackmaster trains and that. I reckon I might be able to get him down to 350. I'd like to pay 300, but 350 I'll go to. Maybe 380. There's well over £1,000 worth of stuff there. So obviously you've got to take that off. Got to take the eBay fees off, but it's still some good profit. And the reason that I'm talking about this pickup is because it's literally 15-20 minutes away, if that, from where I'm staying when I go and see my uncle and my cousins. So it's not like I'm making a trip out the way just to get this stuff. So you've got the fuel cost on top because of that. I'll be going down there anyway. So it just seems like, I don't know, it seems like a good idea. I've been mulling over it for ages, but it's like that journey that sort of put me off. But the fact that now I'm going to be going near it, I'm thinking I might as well do it, and that'll be a wicked boost, because then I can get back on the Sunday, I can have a look at some of it, get some of it cleaned up, tested and what have you, and maybe even get some of it listed Sunday afternoon if I'm not too hungover, which I probably will be. Yeah, and then Monday then, after I've done my post, I can absolutely smash them, because with the trains and stuff like that, they're so fast to list, because the amount of ones I've listed over the 6 years I've been doing it, I've got that many templates that it doesn't take me long to list it. Like, once it's all tidied up and cleaned up, and if some are in good condition anyway, you don't need to have to do a lot as long as they work. the work's already sort of, most of the work's done, as in the listing, if you know what I mean. I literally just got to take the photos and get it on, and that's rapid. That's pretty quick, so I can list loads of them quickly. So I can probably get all that on by the end of the week within ease, and be pulling in that money that I've initially paid out in quickly, because there's some in there worth good money that'll sell because of a past experience like that. So it shouldn't take long to get that money in, and I'll start making a profit on top of that. Because I do need a boost on the store with that sort of thing. So I've started to run low. The stuff I picked up before Christmas, I've run low with the trains now. So I could do picking some of them up again. I've just been listing. Like, I have been good. I mean, I did say, like, you know, I was going to be on a buying ban. That disappeared the other week when I got them audiobooks. If you watch one of my previous videos, you'll see I picked up tons of those. And obviously, that was 30 quid. I paid 30 quid for some take and play trains the first week of January. That's the only 2 pickups I've done in 2026. Unbelievable. Like, I've not been anywhere to get anything. I've not picked nothing else up. Literally 2 pickups, that's it, which has cost me 60 quid. That's it, which is not too bad for me, because normally, like, I'll just keep seeing stuff and getting it. So I've been quite militant with the fact that I'll go to my unit and I'll be like, right, let's get this box open. I know for a fact there's stock in there I've not listed. Pull some out, bring some back when I've been collecting stuff that's sold, get that listed, take it back. And that seems to have worked, like, you know, because I'm throwing stuff, excuse me, throwing stuff on there constantly, listing like large volumes of stuff, keeping the algorithm going and getting rid of some old stuff, some old stock. And it seems to have worked. And obviously, like, I just need to keep on top of that now. Just to sort of clear down that unit. I need to still find a day, and it's going to take a whole day to go to my unit, get everything out, have a bit of a tidy up, because there's certain things I've like took out of certain boxes, done stuff with, like sold, and then there's bits that they're not going to sell. They just need going in the tip. They generally are rubbish, and I reckon I could clear quite a bit of space doing that. Those books I'll keep mentioning if you've watched from my previous videos, where they're not going to be worth much on Vinted and eBay. I'm sending to World of Books or We Buy Books. So I've been scanning some of them and putting them in a pile in a corner. Got a fair amount now. I think you only have to have, is it 5 quid or 8 quid's worth or something to do a trade with them anyway, really. But I don't see the point in that. So I'll just keep going. Like, I'm just gonna keep scanning them, get certain, like, loads, box them all up, get their labels, get them off, so I can shift loads of space in the unit, because I've got a little idea, something I want to do, where I need some of the space in the unit. I'm not going to go into that at the minute. That'll be another video in the future. But it's just another little idea that I've thought of to bring some extra money in, another income stream that isn't difficult either. So, but until I get my act together and clear that space, it ain't happening. Simple as really. And I'm fed up with going to my unit, opening the door, moving stuff out to try and get stuff. I've made it a mess, and it's my fault. It's my fault, you know. I got really organised with it. I tidied it all up last year, got it in a lovely order, and then I've slowly been a bit bloody lazy when I've picked bulk collections of loads of stuff. I've just horsed it all in, just get it in there, get the door locked, just get home, like, have a cup of tea, relax. You know, wrong. I've got to stop that. I've got to basically be a bit more meticulous when I pick things up and how I'm putting them in there, so I can still get in and about, because yeah, it's got into a bit of a mess. I mean, I did do a video on that. If you look at my previous videos, where I'd show you my unit, you would just see how it was all stacked up in front, because it was Christmas. I was wanting to finish for Christmas, chucked all this stuff in there. Yeah, not great, guys. Anyway, I'll show you what's sold now. As I say, it's not a vast amount, because I was ill, because I didn't list as much, so the listings sort of went, as in, like, you know, how much I was putting on there. But yeah, let's have a look, and let's take a look and see what's sold. Right then, let's have a look through these eBay solds. So, first one we've got here is some Tommy Trackmaster Thomas Bank Engine troublesome truck, and we've got 4 of these going out, and they sold for £11 with £3.99 shipping, and they were part of the bundle I picked up just before Christmas. So that was a nice little one that went out there. Next up we have the Tiger Annual 1961. So a nice vintage annual, that sold for £8.99 with £3.99 shipping. Good condition for the age, considering how old it is. Still got the price on there as well. And I do believe this one has no inscriptions in it. It's very nice condition indeed. The pages are nice and clean. As you probably saw in there. Good old Roy of the Rovers somewhere. Probably take me ages to find. Now, there we go. So yeah, Roy of the Rovers. He originated in the Tiger comic, I believe. I wasn't born in 1961, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, I do know from research what am I chatting on about. Yeah, so then he had his own individual strip, obviously, then, and a lot of annuals and all sorts out. But I say, lovely condition for that. That was in a bundle I picked up from Scotland, which I've mentioned in loads of other videos. So that's that one gone. And next up is a Thomas the Tank Engine Trackmaster Wellsworth Station track set. It's just fell down the back of the chair. So there's Wellsworth Station. It's comes with a piece of track, fat controller, and a truck. One of the trees has fell out, but I'll just push back in there, hopefully. With a bit of luck and a big stick. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, perfect. So that's sold for £9.99 with £3.99 shipping. This was part of a bundle I picked up before Christmas, as I mentioned in the previous video. Doesn't have very much, but as I say, sometimes I'll sell a couple of these stations together. Sometimes I'll just chuck this in with a big large bundle with loads of track. But when you can just put a couple of other little things with it to make up a little bundle like that for a tenner, happy days really. Easy money there. That's a nice little one gone. Next one is Trackmaster Revolution track set, which went for £25 with £5.99 shipping. So that is all this in here. I've already got this in the box. That's totally full, as you can see. That box is fairly deep. That's full to the brim with track in there. So that wasn't a bad little sale there. That was part of the bundle I picked up before Christmas as well. Next up we have an order with 3 trains going out to the same person, and that was this one. So we've got Take Along and Play, the metal trains. There's Spencer with his tender, lights up at the front, and he presses his button on the top. So there's various phrases. So that guy bought that one. He also bought Henry, another Take and Play metal train with the tender, like that. And again, lights up at the front and makes noises, says different phrases. So we had that one as well. And finally, from the same guy, he bought Hero, Thomas the Tank Engine Trackmaster train and tender. So altogether that went for £27 and £4 shipping. So that all went to the same guy. So that was a nice little bundled deal. Next one, now this is something very, very weird and random that I listed. So this sold for £10 with £6.80 shipping, because it is, as you can see, a very bulky, heavy book. Picked up a load of books, as I've mentioned in one of my previous videos. 30-40 quid I think I paid. Made tons of money on it. I've mentioned I'm getting rid of some to the world of books and We Buy Books, that sort of thing now. I'm just scanning various ones. If they're not worth listing on eBay or Vinted, I'm just basically packing them off and you know, getting some money back, freeing up some space in my unit. Some of them scan for 10p, some of them scan for 50p. I scanned some newer books that my missus had read that I added to it, because she was like, I'm not going to read them again. The Housemaid, which had been obviously on in the cinema, they were scanning at £1, so that's not bad. You know, so it all mounts up, bit of extra cash coming in. Anyway, stop waffling, Dave, so I'm doing it again and all. Working Memory Constellations, Neil Gerald Morris. Now this, I'm assuming, was the bloke who owned all these books, where this other guy got them from, because he does house clearances, this guy. I get these books off. I pick up books off him every now and again. He's, like I say, he does house clearances, but he sells some of the ones for like a couple of thou, like, you know, big money books. And anything else, he just bundles up, because he are a load of books here, 50 quid or 100 quid or whatever. Sometimes, like I say, 20 quid, 30 quid, depending on how many there is. There was hundreds. This, I think, was the bloke who owned all the books, because there was a lot of some personal stuff in there. Nothing like, you know, dodgy, nothing with like, you know, any bank details, nothing like personal stuff like that. Just stuff with his name on is what I mean, like diaries and things. But this was in here, and it's a PhD thesis from 1986 from the University of Durham. This has gone global shipping. Let's have a look. Where's it gone? To America. So yeah, somebody's obviously doing the same sort of thing and just thought, oh, you know what, I can have a look at this and get some notes off this. Or they might just copy the whole thing, I don't know. That's not for me to say if they want to cheat. That's up to them. It's got £10 in my bank. So the next one, this is another multiple purchase sales that came through yesterday. For 20 quid, 9 quid, 9 quid, 9 quid. Yeah, so let's call it 50 quid round number, just below 50 quid. Same guy in America has bought all these audio books. Now, if you've watched not my previous video, I think it's one before, possibly, paid 30 quid, went half an hour down the road, picked up hundreds of audio books, like loads of them, been slowly listing them up, still got absolutely hundreds to list on there. I'm going to get some done this afternoon. So we bought, what was it, The Falcon at the Portal, The Hippopotamus Pool, by this Elizabeth Peters, same author. He also bought Curse of the Pharaohs by Elizabeth Peters. That's like a big box set bundle, that is. The Deeds of the Disturber, Elizabeth Peters again. Now, I've sold quite a few of these Elizabeth Peters ones already, and the Agatha Christie ones. I've got quite a few left of Elizabeth Peters, so I might get them on first if they're going to fly out the door quicker. And he bought that one, Lion in the Valley, another audiobooks case set. Like I say, you just got to look out for these things. Sometimes you just, you have a look on Facebook Marketplace. If you're selling in sort of like certain niches like clothing or toys or whatever, obviously I do a lot of Thomas the Tank Engine if I see it. It's very difficult to come by these days, I must admit. Don't see it as much, but when I do, obviously I snap it up because I know I can make decent money on it. But you see things like this, hundreds and hundreds of audio books for 30 quid. You know for a fact you're going to make your 30 quid back, obviously, because there's hundreds of them, even if you sold them at like a couple of quid each, which you wouldn't, could be pointless. But I've just been listing these, as I say, like between sort of 7 and 10 to £15 each, depending on what type of audio book, how many tapes, the author, how popular it is. I've done a couple of bundles on Vinted that went out, some of the kids' tapes that was included in there, just little small tapes. And yeah, they've been selling, so, at the end of the day, it was worth going and getting. Sometimes you'd maybe look and think, do you know what, cassette tapes these days, that's old school, no one's going to be listening to them, no one's going to be bothering with those. But a lot of old people still have cassette players. I think I mentioned in one of my previous videos, my granddad lived to his 105. He had his right up to the day he died, and he listened to cassette tapes, so people still do. So there you go, guys, that's all that. There's a Vinted sale I have packed up in there, I've got to go out, which is a gardening book. I only went for a couple of quid. And I've just had one sold as well, some Thomas trains for about £5.50, I think, £6. Just some old metal trains. They're not the best. Some of them are chips and what have you. I've got to get that packed up. Vinted's been a lot quieter over the last couple of days, as I've previously mentioned the reason why to that, and the reason why eBay's been a bit slower and a bit quiet for me. But yeah, that's all the stuff going out the door. I've just got to get them packed up and sent out. So that was all the solds. We've been through those. One other thing I was going to talk about was, at the minute, I am running some auctions that finish on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Got some going on tonight. I'll do some Thursday and Friday, just again to get rid of some old stock. Doesn't owe me anything. It's not the sort of thing you're thinking like, oh God, if it doesn't sell for this, I've lost a load of money. It really doesn't matter. If it all sold for sort of £5 each, wouldn't matter at the end of the day. So I'm trying to do 10 to 15 items a day, do it like that. I've been putting out social media posts on Facebook and the groups that I'm in that people are interested in that sort of stuff. like the old vintage annuals and stuff. I'm in loads of groups. I always, you know, I keep telling you guys, use social media as much as you can, okay? Highly unlikely someone's going to watch this video to think, oh, you know, he's got some of that stuff selling. I'll check his auctions out, or I'll go and buy his stuff. Obviously, I'm not big enough for that. I've only just started doing this, guys. I'm trying to build the channel best I can. Way you can help is by subscribing. So I better get that in there again. But yeah, like, if you use Facebook, then rather than just scrolling through crap, 'cause that's all that's mainly on there nowadays. When it first come out, everyone was all interested in being nosy, wasn't they, and what people were doing and what have you, what someone was having for dinner. Who gives a shit? At the end of the day, you know, it's just adverts really on there now. You don't really see much worth looking at. So I use it obviously to buy my stock off marketplace, and join as many groups as I can to do with the stuff that I sell, so that if I've got an auction on or special deal or whatever, or running a coupon, I'll let them know, and then I get sales from that, which is brilliant. I don't directly, you know, sell outside of eBay and Vinted. Have thought about it, because obviously you cut the fees out, because there is people that do it on some of the groups I'm in. They just basically use PayPal, which, you know, I've still got set up, so it can be done, I suppose. So that's an option. But yeah, so I've just got these auctions running, finishing around about 6:30 on a Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. Again, I'll set some up for Thursday and Friday and just see what I clear out. We all know auctions are a bit dead these days on eBay, but if it's decent stuff, and you know, you just never know, if that person's on there at that particular time looking for that item, they will buy it. And all I'll do, once the auction finishes, say there's 15 items, for example, and only 2 sold or 3 sold, I'll just run the auction again then until they go. I'll find if you do that, you just do get rid of it. Sometimes if you give up and you think, oh, so obviously nobody wants this, you know, if you're looking for something, right, doesn't mean to say that this week I might want something that I might want in 2 months' time. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense. So I just keep running that auction. You get enough free auctions anyway with your shop tariff. So finish it. It finishes, sorry, start again, run it again, and just tweak the title a little bit. And, you know, I find it just clears it down, clears some old stock down. Again, make a bit of room, which is what I keep saying to you. I want to do. I want to make some more space. I don't want to be a bloody storage, you know, company where I'm just storing and hoarding stuff. None of us want to do that. We're in this business because we want to buy and sell, repeat, buy, sell, repeat. That's what we want to be doing. Churning that stuff out, bringing in the profit, reinvesting it, trying to scale the business up. And you ain't going to do that if you're just basically building tons of stuff up just to sit there, not move, not reduce your prices, not try and move it on. If it's something you've failed on, you've bought something, it's not quite worked out, just get rid of it, get your money back, or get as much as your money back as you can, because it's just dead wood, isn't it? It's just sitting there. But so yeah, what I was just going to quickly show you before I finish this video is just, like I said to you, I've been grabbing a few items from the unit, some unlisted stock, like let's call it the death pile, and putting those on just to try and get rid of that, clear a bit of space again. So I'll just show you a couple of things I've grabbed that I'm going to get listed this afternoon, along with you know, some of the audio books. I'll just show you that so you can see what I'm going to do this afternoon with my listing. So this is some of the stuff I've grabbed. Like I say, there's some random comics here, all different titles. I should just bundle that whole lot up. I had loads of comics, and I had the actual runs, like the full runs, and I made quite a bit of money off that, which was great. But these are just odds and sods, like random bits and pieces. So I'm not going to waste my time listing these individually, because it's just not worth the hassle with some of them, unless they're really good titles, which I know they're not. So that'll just be a big bundle of them I'll list up. Just a random book I picked up, because just a, you know, it's another listing. I listed these before, some of these. I've got some listed individually, I've sold them, but I've got loads left. They're basically National Geographic magazine, just large maps really. So I'm just going to bundle all these up and sell them as one bundle. There's a load of maps there. Load of vintage comics. The Buster from 1972. Battle, some Dinos in there. Yeah, again, that'll just be another little bundle of comics, some vintage Ladybird books, not very many. Again, I don't really think they go the best on their own, these ones. I will have a quick look obviously first, just in case there's any good titles in there, but if not, a little bundle of those. There's a 2000 AD sci-fi special, I'll list that. I think I've mentioned before in a previous video, I've got tons of these, absolutely hundreds and hundreds of them in the unit. Sold loads of them, then just left it, didn't bother. They were free pickup, which I've mentioned in the other video, didn't pay anything for them. I've started grabbing like a pile of them like this, and listing them in sort of 12s, because that sort of gets you just below the 2 kilogram mark, so I can obviously send them as a small parcel, Royal Mail on 48-hour tract. They're just vintage flight aircraft, or Flight International magazines. These are from like 1959. No idea what that's doing in there. Didn't even realise that I'd got that. I'll search that up. I doubt it's worth anything, but if it is, never know. If not, that can go with a pile of comics. But yeah, I'm trying to clear through these. I had a guy in Germany who kept buying from me at one point, which is good, so you never know. And then there's just this book. I have searched it up. People are getting between 10 to 15 quid for this for some reason, so I'll list that on its Todd. I've sold similar ones of these before. They're like a comic album where you can sort of like, you can colour it in. I've sold ones before where they've got a bit of colouring in. I've got a tenner for it. I don't think this has got any colouring in it. I'll have a check obviously, so that'll get listed on its own. That's not going to be worth much, but I'll probably chuck that on Vinted. That'll probably go for between 7 and 10 quid. Again, I might chuck that on Vinted as well. I'm doubling up pretty much all my listings are going on Vinted as well now, my fresh ones, just to keep that topped up, keep that feed fed as well, because that's another one. If you don't feed that, you don't see any sales off it. And there's a load of stuff I need to take back off there that's been on for months and re-photograph and re-put back on because they've gone stale. But yeah, that's pretty much some of the stuff I've picked up from the unit there. Not a lot there. Like I say, you pick too much up, you get overwhelmed. Do you know what I mean? All you need to be bringing back is a certain amount of stuff that you know you can definitely get listed. Once I've listed that, then I will be listing these. So as you saw, you know, I was selling these audio books that I've been picking up. That's that Elizabeth Peters again that I mentioned. Obviously that guy in America's bought a load of them. I'll get these on there because those aren't on there. And there's a load of titles in here, I believe, that I haven't got on. Some of these I have got listed in here, but there's probably around about 6 to 8 that I haven't, so I'll get them on. And that is this afternoon's work. So to get those listed, get the audio books listed, and then yeah, we'll get the 10 to 15 auctions set up tonight to go live at about 6, half 6, and that will complete today's work. So I just want to say thanks again for watching. Really appreciate it. Makes it worthwhile me doing these videos. As I said before, I've been enjoying doing these videos. I'm starting to get a lot more views. Not loads. I'm not, going over the top. But it's way better than what it was before. So if I can get the content out more regularly, if you guys would like or subscribe, or at least make a comment if you can. If you don't mind, it takes 2 seconds. If you've been watching these videos but you haven't yet subscribed, click the subscribe button. Really helps me, push the channel then further. So yeah, you guys take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Cheers guys, see you later.